Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Dr. Cammy Goes Keto, where I'm here with Mike Collins, and he is the sugar-free man, and he has helped tens of thousands of people get off of sugar. So thank you so much, Mike, for being here for me.
Yeah, pleasure. Always a pleasure.
So I am working on this challenge to transition from the standard American diet to generally a ketogenic diet, and in the process of changing my diet, getting off of binge eating, which I am closely approaching 90 days on that. It's like day 84 today or 83 or something. So yeah, very close, and no sugar, no flour, no caffeine for like 78, 79 days, a little bit, few days less than that. So yeah, doing really, really well, and very happy about all of that and getting to a new place, which I wanted to talk today with Mike about that because I'm kind of in this transition place where I've been for a while without the sugar, flour, and caffeine and without the binge eating as a way of coping with life stressors. But I don't feel comfortable living my life without the sugar, the flour, and the caffeine. I miss it. Sometimes I want it. Sometimes I think, well, when I'm done with 90 days, I'm going to go on a lovely little binge. And I really don't want that because life is really good right now. I feel good. I'm sleeping good. I'm eating healthy. I'm, starting to want to work on my emotional situation and starting to want to pay attention to feelings that are coming up, which I haven't had a lot of feelings come up yet. It kind of feels like they're just sitting, waiting in the wings for
Mm,
things to, because life has been really good, like my condo's doing good, my car's doing good, my bills are paid. You know how life goes along and you have like smoothness and then you'll have some big bumps in the road and then it'll smooth out. I just kind of feel like there's not hasn't been a lot of bumps in my road. Um so yeah, that's where I am. I'm kind of in this like limbo, it feels like, where, I have been living without the food as a means of support, except for nutritional support. I don't know that I want to or can do this forever. Part of me wants to go back to the sneakiness, part of that feeling that the eating disorder gives you of like, I'm being sneaky. Oh, there's this drama behind it. Oh, this excitement. Like when I first would plan a binge, before I even got anything into my mouth, there would be all this uproar and excitement. And oh, I'm going to go do this and I'm going to go eat that. And the other day I was talking to one of my friends and I said, we were talking about my eating, and I said, yeah, I just don't seem like I have anything to look forward to now. So every once in a while, I'll get this feeling of excitement. Like I'll be on my way home and I'll think, oh, I'm going to get to go home and eat blah, 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 blah. And I'll think, well, wait, there is no blah, 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 blah anymore. There's just my healthy food waiting at home for me on my food plan, which is going to tell me what to eat. Which, by the way, I've been getting off of that food plan, and I really wanna be back on it because I recommitted myself last night and did some journaling about it, to be back on that plan where I don't have any wiggle room, right? Because I can feel, like, myself trying to wiggle around and get to the exciting part again.
food plan as in the one you create for yourself?
Yes, like, I sit down the night before and I decide what I'm gonna eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and I write it down, and then the next day I had been very good for months about, eating what was on my plan, and maybe just making some alterations of, like, the type of protein that I had on it, but, lately I've just been kind of eating what's in the fridge, which is on-plan food, but there's no rhyme or reason to it, and I even find myself snacking a little bit, and you always like eating when I don't normally eat or when I'm not necessarily hungry, or, eating when I'm bored, or eating when there's something else I should be doing, or, that kind of stuff.
Well, I mean, if the structure's been working for
Mhm.
you, don't it's not broke, don't fix it kind of thing. And as long as you're food prepping and your refrigerator is full with stuff that's fine, you may discover that you don't need the structure. Everybody's a little different in that one, but you know, just make sure the Sundays or the Wednesdays or both are the prep weeks, prep time, and you've got to, you always, always, always have a refrigerator with stuff in it. But if it's worked for you up to this time, I would definitely go back to it, you know? I mean,
Y
I couldn't, well, it's not true. I know in my head what I'm gonna eat the next day or whether I've cooked enough at dinner for my lunch the next day, to but yeah, everybody's a little different there. But it's, if you're already doing it and it's not too hard, don't stop for now.
Yeah, right, but, that's like, I'm getting really nervous about approaching this 90-day thing. It's like, when I approached the first 30 days, I was a little nervous about that, about what am I gonna do, and, I really liked your plan about just putting on another 90 days and making it to 180, and let's just go 180 days, and, yeah, so and then that's gonna be 6 months, which will be my big celebration going to the spa for the day up to Glen Ivy and sitting in the mud and, the mineral baths and all that fun stuff.
I wanna do a mud bath. I don't know why. I've never done one. I'd like to do.
And it's kind of fun there because they have, like, a mud pool, so everybody's in there. So they're kinda you feel like you're, a caveman or something. You're in there and you're just slapping mud on each other, and everybody else is over there doing the same thing.
I like it. I like it. Well, look,
Yeah.
I love to see you light up about that kind of stuff, and if it's true, maybe make it a little earlier, make it at, 120 days or 100, yeah, from 90 to give it 30 days to get a mud bath or whatever. Yeah, I mean, it's, you're we talked about it before we came on, and I think we probably should, go here now, is like, I am an expert in feeling too good, okay? By that, I mean, I can get myself out of any jackpot, well, most any jackpot. I'm not gonna kill anybody or anything, but, most any problem I can get myself out of, and I've been in some jams before. It seems like home to me. The chaos seems like home to me. But when things start to go good, I need to be watched. I need to be, checking in with people. I need to, and this is difficult because you're checking in with a whole different group of people. You know what I mean? You have to grow that group of people. You have to cultivate that group of people, that group of friends who would understand. And, at least for me, my mother used to have a saying, not too much shining. If people, if you're good, people will know it. And so the idea of self promotion or even telling someone that I'm doing well was, foreign to me. And so it took me a long time, it's still taking me a long time. I'm still stuck in it in a lot of places to get people that I can speak with who would be happy for my success, who would be positive about my success, and who would make sure that I don't, from what they're seeing, go down the sabotage road or the road of, and it's weird because, and I heard this, I got to try and make sure I say it right. So a lot of times when I think you would call it the other shoe dropping phenomena, you know, when there's a uptick in good things in your life, it's almost immediately, like literally in the minute, but definitely in the time period of that when it's going well, that somehow your brain shifts to, yeah, but, and then goes to when's the next shoe going to drop? Because that's been my life for so long. And I really, urge you to, from the history that we have and things that I know about you and stuff, to try and journal about and try and keep an eye on that coming up, right? So you're, feeling good, you're coming from the gym, you lost 2 pounds, and then all of a sudden you're like thinking about the fast food restaurant or whatever it is, it's like, don't recognize that uptick is followed by when's the shoe going to drop kind of thing. And so again, this is with the whole teach what you need to learn stuff, because this is still, to me, I mean, obviously the positives get bigger. And so, you're always continuing to work, fight against the other shoe dropping phenomena. So, and you are doing well. And sometimes, I don't know about you, but for me, it's difficult for me to hear that. It's difficult for me to hear, because sure as shit, my father didn't give me any, ways kind of thing. I remember one time I was probably 30 years old, something near 30 something years old, and I was moving. He has helping me. Uh, he, we were literally pushing the last thing in the truck, and the door wouldn't close. And I gave it a good shove and I went in, and he goes, "Attaboy." And I had this insane dopamine. I could feel it like going down. I was like this positive feeling welled up like in me, for that attaboy. And I'm like almost 30 years old. They're over maybe over 30 years old. And so I know that like there's something real about this when, you're getting positive re-encouragement or positive encouragement for your life and what's going on with you. Just your life, just, eating your on plan, and you call one of your friends and they're like, "Hey, good job." Other people are like, or the wrong people, put it that way, are just, they're like, "Well, who cares?" Whatever. And they'll bring you back down. So cultivating
Yeah.
that group of people.
Yeah, yeah, that's really interesting that you bring that up because for me, running this channel and doing our talks and everything that we do and our podcast, I have a lot of people that are supporting me. And I feel that. And I see it in the comments. And I talk to people from the sugar support group. And so I do have this like kind of like I feel like a movement kind of behind me that really does support and love and care for me and want me to do well. But then I do still feel that like, oh my gosh, when is this shoe going to drop? When is this going to go away? And then my own fear of self sabotage, like I'm going to be the one that's gonna screw it up because, like, I'm the one that would be putting other food into my mouth. Nobody is over here, like, holding food in front of me trying to spoon feed me sugar. And the other thing that happens is that some people will try to sabotage you, like, in a really subtle way. Like, I had somebody the other day say something to me like, "Gosh, I just really, don't think you should be thinking about your food so much. Food just should be something that you just you eat and you don't really think much about what you're doing with it."
You gotta like limit contact with that person because they don't get it and they're not gonna get it and you're not gonna explain it and it's gonna be shaming and bad feelings when you try.
Yeah, and this person, I realized, oh, well, they're the ones that are having a trouble right now getting off of, whatever.
Yeah,
And so it's almost like they don't wanna jump on the bandwagon, so they try to, like, poo-poo what you're doing and so that they feel better about what they're not doing, you
exactly,
know?
exactly. It's hard because people been in your life for a long time or whatever. But this is one little thing that they're not experienced with, and I don't a lot of them think they're doing it just like your friend. I mean, they're not doing it maliciously. They're just doing it because they don't want you to leave their tribe, and they would have to think about it. They would have to go, let's see. I really need to curb this or that, and I need to lose 10 pounds or whatever. So yeah, yeah, that's a hard part. That's the hard part of the challenge to do it that way.
Mhm. It's interesting, Mike, that you bring up like leaving your tribe because I'm entering a new tribe, right? Like I'm hanging out with a new tribe and a new life, like at the previously when I was talking about feeling, a little lost as to where I am in my life as far as, with sugar or without sugar. And as you enter your new tribe, you have to feel things out, right? Like we say in AA, stay in the middle of the herd because that's where you're safest. And so I'm trying to like figure out how to get myself into the middle of this new herd and how to be okay with it and how to be okay with enjoying it, how to be without the drama and all the excitement and how to feel like I love and deserve to be in this middle of this new herd. Like good self-care, good self-love. Hey, this is, what I deserve and what's right for me. and getting to, like, feeling like you're getting to where you're caring for yourself in a way that you're ultimately moving toward your true self,
Oh, that's
right?
yeah, yeah.
Like, who your authentic self and who that person is and how you care for that person.
Right. Yeah, so it's, yeah, I mean, the difficult part is, like, you can think about it and you know it intellectually. It's getting the feeling of that, what you're describing, getting the feeling of it actually happening. So, yeah, that's, the next step, really ingrained and, not falling prey to the sabotage part of it.
Yeah, yeah. So the other thing that I think is coming up for me is that, I'm on Zepbound, and that's been really instrumental in helping me not binge. I really think it has. And what one of the things that it does, and I've talked to other people who have been on it, is the phenomenon where it quiets the voices in your head, right?
Right?
And we've talked about this. We've talked
Yeah.
about how, people stop gambling and people stop, doing other drugs and people stop, smoking and people stop doing all these other things that are these addiction type of behaviors. And I feel in some ways almost like, I don't know if this is an excuse or just really going on, that it's kind of quelching my emotional feelings too.
Yeah. So I'll talk the rest of the hour about this stuff because I think that it's so, so important as we enter the Ozempic age, the GLP-1 age. There's almost zero research on this or understanding of this. And I just believe that this is what is actually happening with these drugs. And I think the physical byproducts are like the physical byproducts of sugar or alcohol are detrimental on your body, but you're really ingesting the stuff to get the emotion stopping feelings, right? And it's like when everybody it's the research is starting to come in is that when you start um letting go of the GLP-1s, people gain their weight back unless they've done what you've done, which is built in an understanding of your diet and the sugar and flour in the diet, you know what I mean? That was also doing the same thing in a different way. It was numbing your feelings a little bit, right?
Absolutely.
I think people are misunderstanding the GLP-1's effect on the body because of the frozen stomachs and the whatever, all the other physical maladies. It's kind of like the byproducts, like I said, of sugar and alcohol and opioids and stuff. Everybody knows that speed freaks are whatever. And they all have their own physical symptoms, but the reason they're not eating is not because their stomach is frozen or their whatever they call it, it's moving through fast, slow stomach emptying, all this crap. That's just a physical symptom, but the real success is the noise quieting of the peptides. Peptides themselves can be taken without all of that other crap, but a lot of people are microdosing it. You did email me. I don't know if you want to talk about it, but the other psychotropics or SSRIs too. It's all in the brain. I mean, it's all being led by the captain of the ship. It's like it's not the physical thing. I've said many times that in this type of coaching, if you're not an experienced coach, the client will drag you through what I am eating or what can I eat for months before we ever get to the work that you and I talk about, that you and I are working on. So I agree with you 110%. And, I think I know you measured up through a compounding, titrated up through a compounding pharmacy. Whenever you're ready, again, I can't recommend this because I mean, you may have prescribed it yourself, could being a doc, but, and the SSRIs or those kind of things, I can't definitely do that. I'm not a doc and whatever, but I have recommended a few who've written very eloquently on that and whose goal in the reducing of whatever drug you're taking to quiet the noise or make you feel better is really the same solution that we've talked about for 6 months, which is you're doing it to feel better for a little bit or to cover up some feeling you're not happy with or you don't want to have or you don't want to deal with or you don't want to work through. And that I think it is indeed the message of my whole program, my consulting, my coaching is this, work on exactly what you said. You think it's quieting the noise, right? And I think that's what it is. So, any part of this you want to discuss, I'm very happy to do it because I think you're 100% right.
Yeah, so I'm sitting right now in a situation where, I'm approaching this 90-day mark. I wanna get through that
Right.
successfully and then, see how things go from there. But I am under care of people. I am not prescribing this stuff for myself. So I'm under care. And I talked to my psychiatric nurse practitioner, Michelle, and we did drop my Cymbalta from 60 milligrams down to 40 for a month. And then we're going to see, and then she wants to titrate me off over a 3-month period of time, but I don't know that I'll be ready to go off of it that quickly. I think what I'd wanna do is go from 60 to 40 to 30, and then maybe sit at 30 for a little bit and see what happens, and then go to 20 and then go off.
Yeah, follow your I like that plan. I mean, follow it. I mean, I do, I think the original works of Kelly Brogan, those books are the first 2 books are exactly about this topic and exactly what, you and I talk about is like, what was bugging you to begin those or the sugar and the flour? You know what I mean? One of the things that doesn't happen, even in Kelly's stuff, I mean, she might, yeah, no, she talks about it is like people extrapolating all the way backwards the sugar and flour, and they wanna get off the alcohol, they wanna get off the SSRIs, but they don't a lot of people don't figure in the food, the ability of food to quiet whatever bad feeling you have or accentuate positive, so it's like you're the one that's ingesting to do what you want it to do, right? Unconsciously, because it's so ubiquitous and damn near free for most people. But yeah, I mean, I love this plan, and I agree with you. There's no rush in any of this, the GLP-1s or the thing. I think Cymbalta is an add-on in general, most everywhere. It's like they add it to another one. So maybe that's a perfect place to start and to start looking at. I mean, you got time, and if the weight loss is happening, there's another positive spiral added to your toolkit. You're like,
Yeah.
that's like, I'm keep losing weight. I keep losing weight. I'm feeling better. I'm feeling better. I'm getting stronger in the gym. Blah, blah, blah. A lot of positives are organically and holistically entering your life. They're like, and that's good. That's positive, So no rush. You got time. The weight that you have to lose probably naturally should come off over at least a year or 18-month period anyway. So no rush.
Yeah. I'm losing 1 to 2 pounds a week, and last week when I went to the gym a couple of days ago and weighed in, I had lost 2 pounds in 2 weeks, so that was 1 pound a week. But the
Nice.
exciting thing was that my on my graph, I did a little short on this with Jeff. My lines crossed on the graph where I now have more lean body mass than I do fat mass.
Yay, alright.
And now I'm getting this little delta in there, the difference, because at first they came together. First they were the wrong way, then they came together, and then they started crossing, and now they're separating.
Okay.
But I still weigh a lot, but I just have so much muscle on me, so it's gonna be interesting to see how that whole thing goes.
Well, muscle the fat too faster, so that's good.
Yeah, it does, and the other day I got my ketones to 1.3, which was the highest I've ever had my ketones to.
Nice.
So that was really exciting. So yeah, I do see the physical things. So I'm just not sure. My biggest fear about going off the Zepbound is gaining my weight back or because I'd really like to start weaning off of it when I still have a lot of weight to lose. And the thing that's nice about Zepbound is that you don't have a lot of appetite on it. I'm not hungry. My stomach doesn't growl. I don't get that pang in my tummy. I don't, because the food's still sitting in there. So I'm not quite sure how that's all gonna go, and sometimes it really overwhelms me, but then I just think, one day at a time, I don't have to make a decision today, and, get some more abstinence under my belt, where I'm off of the sugar, the flour, and the caffeine and, learn how life goes like that. And then
Love it. I really do. I mean, I think that this is a very, very good plan. What was I going to say? I was going to say something about oh, you know, the lack of hunger could be the high ketones and being in ketosis too. It could be satiated. You'd be satiated from meals and you're not really worrying about it. And I don't think there's going to be, as I said this 100 times, but I don't think there's diagnostic tools that are going to explain exactly what we're discussing here as far as the reactions in the brain or the stomach or what have you. I mean, I think eventually they'll get there, but I don't know if we'll be alive. But, for now, we have to believe that the main research, the main advancements are quieting the noise by abstinence from sugar, flour, and caffeine, and then eventually GLP-1s, like leading the ship here? Ketones. I mean, you're quiet when people are in general are their noise, their sugar noise, their food noise is quiet when they're in ketosis, right? Even if they've never taken GLP-1s or SSRIs, they get quiet, it gets quiet. So it's good. It's a great combo. Like you're covering all the bases here, and there's no rush at all. I mean, it would be so much more. I mean, I think what we talked about first is a more important topic that you don't sabotage this plan. The rocket ships off course all the way to the moon, 98% of the time, but it keeps adjusting. It just keeps adjusting. And that's what you're doing. You just keep adjusting, 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 but adjusting in a positive way. So the positive spiral is upward instead of the negative spiral down.
I like that analogy.
Yeah. Yeah. And it really, honestly, I saw a mailing the other day from that woman that I love, Annalise Shaft, where I can't believe they do that. They need a marketing team. I swear to God. So they have a 7-day intensive for living in process in a place where the hotel rooms are $100, less than $100, and it's what we're teaching. In essence, is living in process. You're learning a process that is, that you can continue daily. It's not like, and a lot of it has to do with uncovering the old stuff, feeling it, and then leaning into the positive parts of your life, right? But moreover, got to uncover the old if it starts to come up and defeat it. Not defeat it, that's the wrong word, but, you know, acknowledge it and then move forward and move past, feel it, experience it, and then move forward past it. It's that lesson, not what do I eat and what do I blah, blah, blah. The lesson is like living in that process. That whole off course all the time is keep adjusting. You know what I mean? You keep adjusting. So it's working.
Yeah, I love that. Uncover, feel, and lean in.
Yeah. I've always hated the phrase lean in, but there's no other one. That is it, because every time someone says lean in, I know that there's some crap coming, what I mean? I got to lean into crap, basically.
Or something difficult or something unfamiliar, something uncomfortable, And
Yeah.
I like it too. It's very descriptive, it tells you what, get ready because here it comes and it's here. So just lean in, get through it because you're going to grow.
So I heard it, and this may sound like I'm going off on a tangent, but I think it's important. It's exactly what you just said in a different realm. So I love this guy, Matthew Walker, who's a sleep expert. So he was on Huberman the other day. And one of the questions about sleep in general is that can you make up a sleep deficit? In other words, can you make up if you, burn the candle at both ends all week, can you sleep a long time on the weekend and catch up? And the answer is no. But he said there's a lot of research now that you can prepare for a tough upcoming week if you rest up over the weekend for the week. And it's exactly what we're doing here, right? you're preparing for all eventualities, a difficult time, exercise and paying attention to your food and not going, you're preparing, you keep preparing. You keep talking to me, you keep talking to other people, you're doing all the right things. You're preparing for any eventuality that would throw you off target, off goal, off plan. So I really do like it. I love the plan that you're going through. And honestly, I do believe that this series that you and I are doing is going to become a master class in getting off of SSRIs, going through the pain, understanding microdosing up and down of GLP-1s, because you are our avatar, meaning you are our classic client. You're identical to everyone who's not everyone. I mean, not everybody's on SSRIs, not everyone's on GLP-1s, but a lot of people are. A lot of people are, and I don't find out till month 2 or 3 usually. Again, you're, adding to the getting off flour and sugar, you're getting, again, right back to that, what's the more important aspect of the GLP-1s, the quieting of the noise or my stomach doesn't empty? Again, I'm of the belief that the stomach doesn't empty is a physical manifestation like fatty liver is for alcoholism, as opposed to, and that the real benefit of the product is the quieting.
Well, going through the process, I really do feel like it's a combination of things. It's like everything, because that's how I got here, was like trying that and it didn't work, and trying that and it didn't work, and then trying that and it almost worked, and then trying that and that and then it did work. So it's like a process of elimination and of trial and error, where you're going through trying to grow, trying to make changes, trying to get healthier. And so, yeah, it's going to be, we keep talking about how it's going to be very interesting to see what happens, as the SSRIs fall off,
Yeah.
and seeing if that, wakes me up a little bit with the feelings and the emotions, because I do feel kind of blunted.
Well, that's before you go any further, that's a feeling of growth. First of all, it's a feeling of maturity. Second of all, I mean, it's a one we need to pay attention to. If you're feeling blunted, we need to get you not over the edge, but at least to the edge of, okay, this is getting difficult again. I'm feeling again. You know what I mean? We need to get you back to that edge. Because I've said this last time or before, whatever, is like, one of the things that happens when people get off sugar, flour, and caffeine is SSRIs are way too much. They're like, they really feel blunted. They get what they were doing to them, because when they're on the sugar and flour, they don't get it. Like, it's like, oh, I feel better. And, and some don't, but I feel better, and they don't know why or how or whatever. But then they get off flour, sugar, and caffeine, and these things are too powerful for them. They're like, oh, I'm feeling, like I can tell that I'm not feeling anything, like, whatever. My husband asked for a divorce and I didn't feel anything, whatever, I mean, it's really, so yeah, that's a good catch, a genuinely good catch. And I think a rediscovery of feelings, you know what I mean? A rediscovering of your own holistic feelings and whatever. And moreover than a discovery of them, it's an ability to articulate it, right? Which is the difficult part with feelings in general, definitely for men, more even women, is like they don't know exactly how they're feeling yet, because they've been using these products, sugar, flour, caffeine, and drugs and alcohol, whatever. And so they don't know how they're feeling. But to discover, to understand and be able to articulate like you just did is a huge movement forward. So,
Yeah, I
yeah.
see that. I see that. And it's exciting. So we
Yeah.
have to unblunt me.
Not as exciting in that, we have to take you back to the edge of, I don't say irritability or we have to take you back to and maybe it's not that. It could be taking you back to positive stuff. You know what I mean? To unblunt you goes both ways, right? It's like you're going to be able to feel the positive as well, just as. But you do want it to be whatever it is. That's the hard part. Whatever it is, you got to do it. You got to feel it. That's the answer, you know? And so that's scary sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like what's gonna happen is that there's gonna be a lot of grief and a lot of you go through like, you almost go through the stages of Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, Ross,
Yeah,
denial,
yeah.
anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. It's almost like I'm gonna go through that, like a grieving almost
Yep.
of and some of it has to do with losing my second son, because I really bottled stuff up then. I
Mm,
really did. I had 2 kids that were 7 and 9, and I had to raise those kids and work 60 hours a week as a doctor and a surgeon, and I stayed sober, and I ate and ate and ate and ate lots of sugar,
mm,
to cope, and that's how I got through it, and so a lot of that grieving went on the shelf, and I pull it off from time to time, and time is helping too. I mean, it's been 20 years. I just went through the 20-year anniversary because he drowned in 2005 in October. So, yeah. So, but there's still some, processing that I think that needs to go on with that. And yeah, some guilt and shame even involved there because I left my ex-husband in charge of that baby. That kid. So anyway, yeah, so it's scary, it's exciting, there's a lot going on, and you just wouldn't think that like pulling off of sugar, flour, and caffeine, I mean, I just wanted to lose 100 pounds, and now, I knew that there would be so much more to it than that.
yeah. Yeah.
And trying to navigate, like, where does the GLP-1 fit in? When does it come out? The other day, one of my friends was like, "Oh, well, you'll be on it forever." And I just was thinking, well, that's not my plan. I don't wanna be on this forever. My goal is to be off of everything, everything. I mean, my blood pressure medicine and another 20 or 30 pounds will probably be done and, other things that are going on.
Good. So let's set an alert. I'm going to set a Google alert for all of the research because it's coming out. It's slow, but it's coming out about not GLP-1s and stomach emptying and, muscle wasting and blah, blah. GLP-1s and mental affect for other addictions, for addiction in general, for food quieting and noise. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Thinking about that. Let's start talking about it. Let's start, researching it. Because look, I mean, I keep mentioning Kelly, but those 2 books about getting us off SSRIs, if anyone wants to do that, who's ever read it, are seminal in the literature of holistic people going from allopathic medicine, Columbia psychiatry degree, to getting off of those stuff, and basically the same process, learning what was eating you when you got on them to begin with, and you gotta go back and go through it, whether, the death of a son, whatever. You gotta go back and go through it with a good therapist or whatever. Because blunt, it's not gonna help you any. It might make you feel better in the moment, but it's not gonna help you. The same process is beginning, I think. I know there's research out there, I just haven't really dug into it, about the GLP-1s having the same effect mentally, emotionally, blunting like that. 'Cause I think I mean, you got the double whammy, but I think the research is clear, or at least the people I believe in, and maybe you do, that getting off SSRIs, or becoming more holistic or whatever is a good thing. That not that it's done. There's more, I'm sure, to be done, but there's a lot of success stories, tons and tons of success stories about that. Not so much about the use of the GLP-1s as um, you know, an SRI. I mean, you're really using it like an S. In my opinion, you're using it like, if I'm correct in my assumptions or my beliefs, that you're kind of using it as a SSR. You're using it as an emotional thing and a mental thing as opposed to a physical thing, right? So we'll see. No one knows yet. It's too new to figure out, but I think you are. I don't know if you like this, but I love being the guinea pig. I just love it. I love it. I mean, if people knew my history of diets and exercise and all that, they laugh at me, but I I'm about to go public as to what happened here, and when
Uh,
you hear it, you're gonna go, "It's so crazy. It's so crazy."
wow.
But Yeah, so, I mean, I love being the guinea pig, and this was a holistic health experiment, and, you know, I did it on my mother effing face. So, you know, I don't know if you like it as much as I do, but it feels like you do. It feels like you do like the experiment of losing 100 pounds and how do you really do it? What's the real answer? Because what percentage is 67 or 70% of the population wants to do that. And definitely the 35% of obese people want to do it. And everybody's been taught wrong. Has been teaching wrong.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see how we continue through this process. And thank you so much for today. I've absolutely loved this discussion. We've covered so many awesome topics. And I'll put a link in there for Kelly Brogan and her 2 books. And I'll mention Matthew Walker
Yeah.
too for people that want to check that out. That sounds interesting too.
Cool.
All right. We'll see you next time. Thank you so much, Mike.
Keep up the good work.
Okay, thanks. Bye.